She want to dance it, maybe my way, baby, I'll wait.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Nelly V, back at it again with another Married at First Sight review. We are on episode 13. This was a really good episode. I feel like, discussions were had, questions were brought up. So, yeah, so basically this episode, the experts, Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper, met with each of, the couples, well, separately, and kind of asked them if you guys have any other, unanswered questions that you still need to, know about your partner so you can make an informed decision on decision day. So it was good, and then we got to see the couples kind of digest their chat, see what, changes that they can make going forward. In my opinion, I mean, y'all saw, it's already like 18 days until decision day, because at this point now, like, you either know or you know what's going on. So there's no more time for reset. There's no more time for any of that. Like, we got to get to the nitty gritty. So I hate when I'm hearing these couples still saying like, oh, we just haven't talked about this yet, or we're getting to that bridge, blah, blah. Like, the time is now so that you can make an informed decision. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, we're going to get right into the episode. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe. And even if you're not new, give the video a like and a subscribe, okay? So, yes, we're going to get right into the video. All right, so I actually just finished watching the episode, and usually I like to give a day for it to marinate, but I'm trying to release this video a little bit earlier for y'all, okay? So we're just gonna do it cold, okay? I got my notes here, but we're gonna do it cold. So we're gonna start with Briana and Vincent. So they had a lot going on, but I feel like I had been saying in my other videos, I need them to start having these conversations, like finances. What is it gonna be like living together after this, blah, blah, blah. So they talked about a lot. They talked about finances and kids and kind of daily living habits this episode. So first issue that was brought up was Briana wants Vincent to be waking up early with her. Why? I don't know. Let the man sleep, okay? She's like, oh, if you're waking up in the morning, you're gonna be more productive, blah, blah, blah. But some people, like me, I am a night owl. I, work best at night. But even my parents, my dad is a night owl and my mom is an early morning person. Now, sometimes my dad does wake up early, but it's not every day that you can expect Vincent to be getting up early with you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, just let him sleep. I don't know why she's making that such a big deal. And I feel like the fact that, Vincent was kind of can we compromise? And then she's like, well, why don't we just go to sleep earlier? And he's like, that's not really a compromise. They were throwing around the word compromise, but they were still saying what they want the person to do. And I'm like, that's not compromise. But I feel like it shouldn't be a big deal that he wants to sleep in. The boy's working hard, okay? Let him sleep if he wants to sleep. Second thing was their finances. Now, before they even met with the experts, the experts, did I say? Okay, before they even met with the experts, they actually talked about their budget, separately. They had $9,000 a month spending. I was like, okay, big ballers. And I actually paused the TV or, to zoom in, and somebody's making $100,000, somebody's making $89,000. I mean, go back and check the spreadsheet if y'all don't believe me. But yeah, I was like, oh wow, we working with some big budgets in here. But Vincent really wants to spend more. Vincent really wants to save more money, and Briana's like, I'm trying to, dine out. I'm trying to get that entertainment budget needs to be up. We need to be taking more dates. We need to be going out, which I feel her. I feel him too. I feel like they were not meeting in the middle at all. Again, like I said, I paused. They had $500 for groceries. Who is spending $500 a month on groceries with no kids? Just the two of y'all. There's no reason. That could be cut. Correct me if I'm wrong. She said she spends $350 on braids. Well, did she say $250 or $350? Because the closed caption said $250, but I thought I heard $350. I don't know. So I'm like, yeah, that can be cut. You don't get braids every month. You can do your natural hair every once in a while. That's what I do. I alternate between getting my hair done and doing my hair myself. So there's ways. And then she said she spends she says $400 a month on clothes. You're buying $400 a month of clothes every month? That's a lot. That's excessive. So I feel like you can put some of that money towards the dates that you want to be going out with. Because Vincent, I don't think he should have been cutting the money from the dates, from the entertainment. Like, y'all should be going out. Y'all should be, spending time together out on the town, blah, blah, blah. But it's the other stuff at home that can be cut. And then it's like they had $500 for travel. Like, I mean, I guess you want to put $500 a month for future vacations, but if y'all are traveling, like, then you don't need to be, every month y'all should make a new budget, because every month is not the same. In my opinion, like, you gotta look at what is happening this month. Okay, are we going on vacation this month? Okay, we can cut from this corner, we can cut from that corner. But yeah, I feel like they were saying the same thing. They both want to save money and they both want to enjoy life, but they're just not cutting the money from the right area. Like, I mean, with these groceries, like, y'all need to be shopping at Aldi's or like get a Kroger Plus card, because there's no reason why groceries should be $500 a month. Like, absolutely not. So yeah, the third issue they had was the kids. Okay, so Briana said that she has a fear of just like giving birth. She said she has high blood pressure, and that can get elevated during pregnancy and during childbirth. Something could happen to her, something could happen to the child. Vincent wants to have kids within 1 to 2 years. She wants to do 3 years. So no resolution was really set with that. I just think that, like, when they decide to go through the process, like, I mean, I don't know, I've never had kids or anything like that. I think they just need to really make sure that, like, maybe she could stay home the entire pregnancy instead of, like, working. Maybe she just needs to, like, lay low and, like, be in bed rest. Like, I don't know if y'all saw the Wendy Williams Lifetime movie. She had to, like, literally stay home her entire pregnancy, because, like, if she stood up, she put too much weight on the baby, and like she was getting like miscarriage after miscarriage. So if that is an option that they really do want to explore, I think that there's ways about it. But I mean, it is a legitimate fear, and I feel her on that, because as a woman, with your body going through all these changes, it's a lot. I think that Vincent could have been more understanding. He didn't really offer support like I wanted him to. He was just kind of like, well, we got to do it sooner rather than later. But I wish he would have said something a little bit more encouraging to her. But I think that they're making it seem like they're deal breakers, but I do think that they can work through that problem. Like, I think that, and we saw in the preview, they're even going to talk about maybe the possibility of adoption. I don't know if Vincent is open to that. We'll find out next week. But I think that, if they're making, the money that they look like they're making, maybe she can afford to stay home during the whole pregnancy, and maybe, just constant, doctor's visits, making sure that she's good, research with, the OBGYN, all of that type of stuff. But I'm still hopeful for these two. Briana is really set in her ways, though, with the way she, like the waking up early and, the finances and things like that. So there needs to be a little bit more compromise from both of their ends. But I think if they work through that, I really don't, they're going to stay together. If they don't stay together, I'll be shook. I'll be shocked. But yeah, I think, it was good for them to start having these discussions, because like I said, they have been dilly-dallying around the issues. But yeah, that is Briana and Vincent. One thing that I really do like that, Pastor Cal said to Vincent is, like, start communicating your emotions, put yourself first a little bit. You can still please her, but you can still please yourself first. I think Vincent needed to hear that, because he's trying to be the perfect guy in this marriage, and he needs to just let go and be himself. So I like that advice that Pastor Cal gave him. What else was I gonna say? Yeah, I just think their relationship is very cute, and I think that she doesn't want to let him down, and he wants to please her, but like they just gotta meet in the middle somewhere to just make sure that, you know, compromise is actually being, you know. Next, let's go into Haley and Jacob. So Haley met with Dr. Pepper, and Jacob met with Pastor Cal. One thing I will say about Jacob is Jacob was like, you know, I'm really open to hearing what Pastor Cal has to say. I'm open to criticism, blah, blah, blah. And I do feel like Jacob has been very receptive throughout this whole process about like listening and like taking the expert's advice to heart. So I will say that that's one thing I like about Jacob. Basically, the problem is these people have not established a, you know, deep connection or, you know, any type of common ground, any type of vulnerability, any type of depth. There's no depth in this marriage. So that's a problem because, again, we're 18 days from decision day. Haley said, you know, she feels like she's giving it a try. Every time she asks him questions, he's not really digging deeper. He's not really engaging with her. Jacob is saying, I wasn't sure that you wanted to engage with me. I don't know. It's still unclear, but it's a mismatch. As I've said, it's a mismatch. Haley started crying with Dr. Pepper, and Dr. Pepper was like, what you crying for? And that's why I was like, yes, tell her, snap out of it. She said, what you crying for? And she was like, you know, I really consider this thing as a failure. And Dr. Pepper was like, it's not a failure, it's not over, like stop crying, you know, you can still do something about it. But I think in Haley's mind, she really does feel like it's over, like the rest of us feel like it's over, because she doesn't feel like the marriage is worth saving, you know. And I can't say I disagree with that, because I think, I don't know what it is, but it's just not working. It's just not working. And it is really the vulnerability, like they really never got past a certain level. And I know Jacob will tie it back to Vegas and da-da-da-da, but like, it's just not working. It's just not working. And it sucks because they're both internalizing this as like a failure. Haley's like, you know, I really wanted this to work out. I'm not trying to be single forever. Jacob is like, this was my last chance for love, a lifetime partner, to have kids, da-da-da-da. At the end, when they were talking about it, you know, Haley talked about how she was in a really controlling relationship in the past, and how she just didn't want to, you know, she didn't want to be in a relationship where she felt like she had to be there or something like that. And then Jacob was like, well, do you think that that's still affecting you right now? And I was like, not you trying to psychoanalyze her. Like, she did give it a try, y'all. And y'all already know this is a Haley Stan account, okay? She really did give it a try. I think that Jacob still, even when she asked him, she said, I still am unsure about what you spent the last 10 years doing. He still didn't really say much. What goals were you working on? What aspirations did you have? You know, like, get a little deeper. Like, just, there's no depth. There's no depth. And she's like pulling teeth, trying to talk to him, you know? So he still said like, oh, I dated around, and like my friends had, you know, babies and stuff. So there was not much for me to do, but it's not hitting, you know, they're not getting to where they need to get. All right, so next we have Virginia and Eric. Virginia met with Pastor Cal, and Eric met with Dr. Pepper. And Eric's meeting, I mean, you know, Eric, we just had an instant connection, you know, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, he talked about how they do have issues, but they don't really resolve them. They chip at them. You know, the dog thing was brought up, and Dr. Pepper humbled him. She said, why do you need to be the dog's dad? Why? And I was like, exactly, like. And he's like, well, I mean, we're together. Da, 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 da. And she's like, relax, let it go. So I really hope that we don't hear about this dog again, because that was really, he was blowing it out of proportion. So I'm glad and I think he actually understood. I think he actually needed to hear it from, you know, somebody outside the marriage. And the analogy that she used about like, what if it had been a kid from a previous marriage, I think that made sense in Eric's head, and I think he's gonna release the pressure. I said, okay, good. As long as somebody gets through to him, as long as he learns, that's good. So issue number one, that's resolved. The second thing they talked about what Eric talked about with, Dr. Pepper was bringing up Virginia's drinking and how that seems to have affected their arguments. And Dr. Pepper was like, maybe you should bring up, like, we should drink less and we should, blah, blah, blah. Yo, you already know when he brought that to Virginia's face. Virginia shut down. She was like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't really think that matters because we would have fought about it whether alcohol was involved or alcohol wasn't. But the way that Eric brought it up, he didn't bring it up the way Dr. Pepper told him to bring it up, okay? She said, come at it from a caring perspective. I don't know what she said, but Eric kind of didn't bring it up that way. But I think that Virginia would have shut down either way because Virginia has already said she's not going to stop drinking. That's not on the table for her. So she was not going to be open-minded about that suggestion either way. I think that Dr. Pepper should have talked to Virginia about her drinking, or she should have told Pastor Cal to bring it up because, she's tired of hearing it from Eric's perspective, like, because Eric is coming like, oh, you're just young, you're just, you want to go out, blah, blah, blah. But I think she needed to hear it from the expert, but they didn't bring that up to her in her meeting. So, yeah. The third thing, what was the third little issue they had? Virginia and Pastor Cal, they talked about kids. Virginia said, she has a fear of just, messing up her children and stuff, especially coming from her divorced parents. She said that she started to remember a lot of things from her childhood that, like, I guess her parents didn't even know that she saw or internalized. And I get that because that's a lot, when you're trying to build a life and you're trying to really think about what, how do you want to raise your kids? What do you want them to see? What do you not want them to do? But like Pastor Cal said, I think Virginia has really good intentions. I think that, she's good with her nephews. She's good with other kids in her life. And I think that, like, the biggest thing is awareness, awareness. Nobody would, I don't think she would purposefully do something to, like, mess up her kid's life. And I think just the fact that she wants to do better is enough, but she has to feel confident in that ability. Eric doesn't need to force it upon her. Nobody needs to force it upon her. She needs to feel ready to have kids, So hopefully they continue to explore that. Eric was able to kind of ease her mind, like, if you're not able to have kids, I'm not going to leave you. But he made it seem like it was just in that sense, like, if you were physically not able to have kids, this is what would happen. But I mean, if she just chose not to have kids, is he still gonna be open-minded about it? You know what I'm saying? If she never comes around. So yeah. All right, so next we have Virginia and Eric. Virginia met with Pastor Cal, and Eric met with Dr. Pepper. In Eric's meeting, Eric, we just had an instant connection, blah, blah, blah. But, he talked about how they do have issues, but they don't really resolve them. They chip at them. The dog thing was brought up, and Dr. Pepper humbled him. She said, why do you need to be the dog's dad? Why? And I was like, exactly, like, and he's like, well, we're together, and she's like, relax, let it go. So I really hope that we don't hear about this dog again, because that was really, he was blowing it out of proportion. So I'm glad and I think he actually understood. I think he actually needed to hear it from, somebody outside the marriage. And the analogy that she used about, like, what if it had been a kid from a previous marriage, I think that made sense in Eric's head, and I think he's gonna release the pressure. I said, okay, good. As long as somebody gets through to him, as long as he learns, that's good. So issue number one, that's resolved. The second thing they talked about, Eric talked about with, Dr. Pepper was bringing up Virginia's drinking and how that seems to have affected their arguments. And Dr. Pepper was like, maybe you should bring up, like, we should drink less and we should, blah, blah, blah. Yo, you already know when he brought that to Virginia's face. Virginia shut down. She was like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't really think that matters because we would have fought about it whether alcohol was involved or alcohol wasn't. But the way that Eric brought it up, he didn't bring it up the way Dr. Pepper told him to bring it up, okay? She said, come at it from a caring perspective. I don't know what she said, but Erik kind of didn't bring it up that way, but I think that Virginia would have shut down either way, because Virginia has already said she's not going to stop drinking. That's not on the table for her. So she was not going to be open-minded about that suggestion either way. I think that Dr. Pepper should have talked to Virginia about her drinking, or she should have told Pastor Cal to bring it up, because, you know, she's tired of hearing it from Erik's perspective, like, because Erik is coming like, oh, you're just young, you're just, you know, you want to go out, blah, blah, blah. But I think she needed to hear it from the experts, but they didn't bring that up to her in her meeting. So, yeah. The third thing, what was the third little issue they had? Okay, Virginia and Pastor Cal, they talked about kids. Virginia said, you know, she has a fear of just, you know, messing up her children and stuff, especially coming from her divorced parents. She said that she started to remember a lot of things from her childhood that, like, I guess her parents didn't even know that she saw or internalized. And I get that, because that's a lot, you know, when you're trying to build a life and you're trying to really think about what, you know, how do you want to raise your kids? What do you want them to see? What do you not want them to do? But like Pastor Cal said, I think Virginia has really good intentions. I think that, you know, she's good with her nephew. She's good with other kids in her life. And I think that, like, the biggest thing is awareness, you know, awareness. Nobody would, you know, I don't think she would purposefully do something to, like, mess up her kid's life. And I think just the fact that she wants to do better is enough, but she has to feel confident in that ability. You know, Erik doesn't need to force it upon her. Nobody needs to force it upon her. She needs to feel ready to have kids, you know? So hopefully they continue to explore that. Erik was able to kind of ease her mind, like, you know, if you're not able to have kids, I'm not going to leave you. But he made it seem like it was just in that sense, like, if you were physically not able to have kids, you know, this is what would happen. But I mean, if she just chose not to have kids, is he still gonna be open-minded about it? You know what I'm saying? If she never comes around. So yeah. Similarly, I feel like Pastor Cal or Dr. Pepper, somebody should have told Erik about these ultimatums he's been doing, because he's calling them deal breakers, but they are ultimatums. So when they had their little powwow to talk about, you know, their conversations, Erik also brought up, like, going out with her friends and, like, making time for the marriage and things like that, like at least giving him 1 weekend a month. But then, so that was good, going somewhere, right? Then he had to mess it up and be like, you have to cancel things for me. And again, I think Virginia would be willing to do these things, but when you force it upon her, she's not gonna do it. Just like any child, anybody, when you tell them to do something, they immediately don't want to do it anymore. So, like, yes, maybe if you, let's say you come into town, you know, you're come in earlier than the 15 days, you know, you come in out of town, you want to do something, she's doing something with her friends. Maybe she would be like, okay, y'all, Erik is in town, I'm gonna do something with him. But, like, when you say you gotta cancel things, you gotta do this, she's immediately not gonna do it anymore. You forcing it upon her is making it seem like, you know, let her choose you. Let her choose you. Let her choose to make you as a priority. But you're not even allowing her that chance because you're controlling everything. So I think if Erik could let go of his preconceived notions of marriage and focus on being married to Virginia, releasing less pressure, and letting just two independent people in a marriage. You ask for somebody independent, and I guess Virginia is super, super independent. But I think that, like, if you gave her space, then, like, the result would be she would become a little bit more dependent and vulnerable with you, because she would see that you're there for her and trusting and stuff like that. But I don't know if Erik is too much of a controller to even let that happen. So we'll see. Like I said last week, I was not really a supporter of this marriage anymore after he blew up on her last week with that dog situation. But we'll see how things go, you know, go forward. You know, he acted like he understood the advice Dr. Pepper, you know, said, and he was going to do better. So we'll just have to see. But I think that they are going to say yes to one another, but I don't know if that's necessarily the best decision for them. All right, so Chris and Paige. Why they're still in this experiment, God knows only. So, Paige met with Dr. Pepper. Chris met with Pastor Cal. Chris came to his meeting, his 7 o'clock meeting at 7:43. But we're going to get into him. We're going to get into him because we're going to read him, okay? For the last time, I hope. But anyways, so Paige met with Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper was reading Chris. She said, he's a narcissist. He's this, he's that. But my question is, why didn't y'all catch that? Why didn't y'all catch he was a narcissist before this process even started? You were a doctor. Y'all are pastors. And Dr. Vivian, y'all are doctors, PhDs. And it's coming out now. Y'all were so easily fooled. Oh, anyways. Okay, so she said he was a narcissist and da. She, encouraged Paige. She was like giving her good advice on how to process or how to proceed with her next relationship. How if there's no kindness, if there's no respect, you don't need to accept that kind of treatment, So I'm glad that she was building her up. Dr. Pepper was asking good questions. She was like, why did he want you to meet the ex? Why did he, buy the ex a car, blah, blah, blah. And Paige was still like, why would he sign up for this process? And why would he do this, blah, blah, blah. And Dr. Pepper was like, he wanted to hurt you. He wanted to hurt you. And she was like, yeah. But it's like, I don't understand why it's still not clicking for Paige. Why it's not clicking for Paige. Because then she said something. She said, that's why I need to go to decision day because I need to ask him, why would he give up on the marriage? Sis, you know the answers to these questions already. He doesn't like you. He doesn't want to be with you. He's not attracted to you. There's no more questions, no more answers that need to be asked or said. Why are we still doing this? I'm like, girl, do you want him to tell you to his face he thinks you ugly? Is that what you want? Is that what's going to make you feel better? Because that's basically what he said. He said it in so many words or less. And she keeps saying, just so many unanswered questions. Stop asking things. Look at people's actions. The people's actions have already showed you what they feel about you. Respect yourself. Oh, every week we have to give Paige a lesson? God, get with it, girl. Oh, okay. Done with her. Chris said, out of all the queens in Atlanta, y'all gave me Paige. That was so rude. That was so rude, y'all. And it's like, that shows me. And Pastor Cal even said, you've been engaged several times. And there is a lot of queens in Atlanta. And you can't get any one of them. You know why? Because you don't have yourself together. Because you're not a king. Because you're a narcissist. Because you have issues. Okay? You're not worthy of these queens out here in Atlanta. You're not worthy of Paige. You're not worthy of anybody. Because you're not together. Get yourself together. Figure out why you're jumping from relationship to relationship. Figure out why you're so consumed in the flex and all of this stuff. It's just, and I feel like Pastor Cal, again, he was kind of still advocating for the marriage. And I don't like when they do that because I'm like, don't encourage Paige to settle because she already wants to settle. But he doesn't want to be in this marriage. It's obviously, he's shown that. But Pastor Cal was still like, you didn't give it a chance. What about her besides the physical did you not like? And he could not name one thing because Paige didn't do nothing to you. But anyways, it's like he's trying to criticize the experts for giving Paige, but you're the one who needed the experts. You know what I'm saying? All these queens out in Atlanta and you couldn't find one yourself. So you came on this show and you needed this process. So don't act like you're so perfect. You know what I'm saying? And they did such a bad job. They gave you somebody of substance. They gave you somebody that you could work with. It's like you telling me you're not attracted to Paige, blah, blah, but you still slept with her though. You still slept with her. Ooh. She was good enough for you to sleep with her, but she wasn't good enough for you to be committed to her. Just say it for what it is. Ooh. I mean, there's really no getting through to Chris. I mean, everybody's tired of him. Pastor Cal is exhausted. He needs an actual therapist because he doesn't even see anything that he did wrong. He actually feels like he did everything right. He had the audacity to be like, oh, Paige could have come with y'all to pick out a new car for I can't even speak. Paige could have came with them to pick out a new car for Mercedes. What business would she have there? What business? And like Pastor Cal said, it shows that you don't care about her feelings and you don't respect her. And he really feels like, you know, he did everything right in this process. So I'm just, honestly, I hope Chris gets the help that he needs for his narcissistic behavior and just so he can do better. Because, I mean, honestly, I really hope nobody in Atlanta gives him the time of day after this. Everybody should be put on game. Okay, he should be on like a most wanted flyer, like avoid this red flag, blah, blah, blah. Like, nobody, you're gonna have to relocate. He should go back to Chicago or go back where he came from because he can't stay here. All right, so then we have Ryan and Clara. So a lot of things frustrated me about Ryan and Clara this episode. Okay, so Clara met with Pastor Cal and Ryan met with Dr. Pepper. Let's take Ryan first. Ryan, so Dr. Pepper asked what's been the high points, what's been the challenges. Ryan's like, there's no challenges. Dr. Pepper's like, she's like, that's BS because everybody has challenges. But Ryan is so like, I don't know if he just like doesn't think of these things as a problem or what, or I don't know, because they brought up the faith thing. We haven't heard about the faith thing since the honeymoon. Again, he's reiterating how important it is to her, yet they have not talked about it since the honeymoon, at least on camera to us. So, they talked about that. Then they talked about, the sex thing. And Dr. Pepper was like, well, how does Claire feel about that? And he was like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I should ask her. And she was like, well, how does she feel about, raising kids in a Christian household? I don't know. I haven't asked her. So every question Dr. Pepper asked, y'all haven't got to it yet. So where are y'all at? What are y'all talking about? Again, the depth is not there, but they're saying the relationship is 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Sugarcoating everything is great. This is the best relationship I've been in. This is the time to be in front of the experts. Get the help you need. Because I don't know, I'm worried that Ryan is I'm worried that he might be censoring Clara because, he was doing that in the beginning. Like, I don't want you to talk about our sex life and I don't want to talk about this and I want to keep this between us and da-da. I hope that, he's not censoring her and that she's actually saying what she feels and stuff, because I feel like even how Clara was acting, like she was acting like everything's not a big deal, but she was popping off with the girls just 2 days ago. So which one is it, I feel like they were not being real in their meetings, like both of them. So it just frustrated me a little bit. I don't understand how Clara is saying the relationship is a 10 out of 10 when you're not getting sex. You said you would not be okay if the relationship stayed like this and you never got sex, and so and she said she's sexually frustrated and stuff. So I don't know. I just don't feel like she was like really, being honest. But I also don't think that Pastor Cal's advice to her was good, because he basically was like, ask him, when do you think that like he'll get to the love thing, and applying more pressure is just going to make Ryan back away. Clara shared in the very beginning that her fear was that she was going to fall in love with Ryan and he was not going to love her back. So I understand wholeheartedly her hesitation to bring up that she loves him already, blah, blah, blah. Like, I would not be doing that if I was her either, because that is a fear of hers, At the same time, I'm kind of like, rip off the Band-Aid. Find out if this man is even going to grow in love with you so that you can you don't have to waste your time and you can just kind of, leave after the 8 weeks if he's not growing in love with you. But again, they're both saying that the relationship is great. So they're having these conversations. They're just not having it with us, I guess. That's all I can assume to believe now, because I don't understand where they're getting the 10 out of 10, because I don't see it. They literally look like they're in the friend zone. But both of their, like, Clara's emotional needs are not being met. They're not. So it was also revealed in Pastor Cal's meeting with Clara that Ryan has been in a lot of relationships where he wasn't having sex, for months or whatever, years he was with these girls and he wasn't having sex. I think that part of that is probably like a religion thing, because coming from his Christian background, parents ministers. At the same time, we see that he's comfortable with other forms of sex, like oral or whatever. So it's kind of like, I don't know what his deal is with that. But because, it's all or nothing, because sex is sex. All of it is sex. So I think that's why I told y'all last week, Clara needs to stop giving anything and take everything off the table and see if that doesn't speed up what she wants. Because she asked him again and he was like, I don't know when I'll get there, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. And then they talked about the religion thing. Clara was like, I seen it work with my parents. My dad doesn't go to church. I was raised in the church with my mom, blah, blah, blah. And it worked out just fine. Ryan he doesn't want that though in his marriage, and he doesn't want that for his kids. And Clara's all like, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. The bridge is here now. Y'all got 2 more weeks to make a decision, Y'all can't just be bringing children to the world and then decide like, oh, how are we gonna raise them? Like, y'all have to have these conversations now. So, but again, we didn't see Ryan share his opinion with Clara. He looked visibly like, that's not cutting it for me. But we saw what he said behind the scenes, but we didn't see him talk to Clara about it. So I really feel like Ryan might say no on decision day, because I feel like he does have a mental checklist. And I feel like Clara is not fitting all these boxes, and that is, some hesitation. Even though he's saying it's just time and da-da-da-da, but like, she can't be waiting forever, But I think it's normal that he hasn't said I love you, and I think that she does need to stop obsessing over it. I think that she needs to focus on cutting sex off the table, see if she can at least get sex, and then maybe she can get the I love you. But I don't know. But he probably wants both of them to happen at the same time, and it probably is not going to happen within the 8 weeks. She's probably going to say yes on decision day. He's probably going to say, I feel like he's going to say no, but he might say yes. And then after like maybe 3 months, maybe he'll get there. But I don't know, because I feel like the religion thing is a bigger deal breaker than he's making it seem. And Clara's like, well, I want them to explore and da-da-da-da. And Ryan doesn't seem like he's for that. At the same time, he said, I don't want to force her to do anything she doesn't want to do. So I guess he's just gonna, tap out gracefully and be like, okay, you do you, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna raise my kids in my Christian household with my Christian wife, He might decide to do that. So I don't know. Again, these two is giving me friend zone. It's giving me business casual. It's giving me no spice, no emotion, no affection. I don't like it. And I think that Clara deserves better, because she's so full of life, and Ryan is just so boring. And I'm not here for these two either. So anyways, thanks for watching. All right, guys, thanks for watching. That's it for this episode review. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Leave a comment, let's talk about it. What do you guys think is each couple's biggest challenge for them staying together? Briana and Vincent, is it the finances? Haley and Jacob, is it this, da-da-da? What do you guys think is each couple's biggest challenge to staying together? Let me know in the comments. Let's start a discussion. And I will see y'all next week for another review. Have a good week. Bye.
Maybe my way, baby, I'll wait.